Hare Krishna devotees, welcome for today's morning Srimad Bhagavad Gita class. So today we will be discussing second chapter, verse number 63. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurulmanitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaurabhakta Vrinda Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Can you little bit increase the volume? It's a little feeble audio.
Is it okay now?
Little better, Prabhu.
Okay. I will, as I speak, it will be louder. It will not be a problem.
Thank you.
So, can I have the verse? Okay. So I will chant the verse. Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, verse number 63. क्रोधाद् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. Krodhat from anger, bhavati takes place, sammohaha perfect illusion, sammohat from illusion, smriti of memory, vibhramaha bewilderment. Smriti Bramshat, after bewilderment of memory, Buddhi Nasaha, loss of intelligence, Buddhi Nasat, and from loss of intelligence, one fast. Translation. From anger, complete delusion arises, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost, and when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. So this is a very powerful verse, very simple way to explain. We have so many HR workshops to say how to control anger and all of this. But if you do not know the mechanics of how these things are coming, then how can you stop it? So people are taking all different routes, which is not actually connected to the base problem. That is the reality. So if you see this series of verses Lord Krishna is speaking in Bhagavad Gita, he is talking about how our action in the bodily platform is actually the wrong way to do it, or the whole working on the bodily platform is on a illusory platform, because you are not the self. If you go back somewhere in 2.54, it clearly says that one should be situated in the self. That means that is the real platform. Self means the spirit. But if you are situated in the bodily platform instead of the self, then you are actually thinking something which you are not actually. Like if I think I am, for example, the CEO of my company, I am not. So it is in a wrong platform, and all my actions, thinking and acting as the CEO in my mind is all in the futile, because I am not the CEO of the company. The same thing here. And now, in this particular verse, the Lord is actually talking about what are the consequences of someone who's actually thinking and acting on the bodily platform. So, the previous verse you would have seen that because of bodily platform, we develop a desire for our object, which leads to attachment, and then which leads to anger. Normally, it leads to anything when you're over possessed with the object or anything. It could be a relationship, it could be a person, but everything in relation to the body. If you are thinking like that, and if you either don't get it, or it leads to some kind of a dissatisfaction. Even if you get it, after some time you lose taste, and then you hanker for something else. So it actually leads to dissatisfaction. But when you are more deeply engrossed, it leads to lust, and then this one actually goes further from lust. What happens? it leads to anger naturally, right? When you don't get it, when you're frustrated, you get angry, like so many times. Like I tell someone to do like this and they don't do, I get angry. And that anger leads to bewilder, what do you call, illusion, delusion. It's mentioned here. Delusion is nothing but something that we think something is, but when it is not that. So that's called delusion. So this anger leads to delusion. And when you are in delusion, it leads to bewilderment. Oh, why is this happening? How can this happen? No, those kind of things keep happening. And that's all very fast. In a fraction of a second it happens. When that happens, our memory is completely lost. And when our memory is completely lost, we fall down from our state. That we can see even when we suddenly get angry. You anybody, like, if I am shouting, I am supposed to be someone who's very composed, who has a lot of knowledge, who know how to deal with people, everything. But the minute I get angry, my memory, you see, physically, I'm saying, you will feel a little hot over your head. And you sort of lose your head. People call sometimes, why did you lose your head? That means your intelligence is gone. That's what is mentioned here. Your intelligence is gone. And then whatever you bring as a person, everything is gone. Nothing is in your mind, and you are just simply shouting out your head. And people will think, what is this? He's behaving like an animal. So that means our intelligence is lost, and then I fall from my position of whatever I have built over the number of years, particularly in relation to the person whom I'm shouting at, or the situation I'm shouting at. So this is the mechanics of how do you get angry, what is the root of it, and what happens because of this thing. In this verse, Prabhupada actually quotes a nice verse. He says, प्रापांचिकत प्रापांचिकतया बुद्ध्या हरिसम्बन्धी वस्तुनः मुमुक्षुभिः परित्यागो vairagyam plagu katyate. This is from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1 to 2.258. So here the point is, how do we, therefore, we are in a body, we have to, we are all the time in connection with the senses and therefore the objects of the senses. But how do we deal with it when we are actually not connected to these objects? Since we are situated in a body, how do we deal with it? So the point is, mostly the logic would be, therefore, we should just restrain ourselves. We should put a circle around us and not touch anything which is material. This is the logic, right? If you want to avoid something, don't touch it. Then you will not, if you like to hear so much of music, okay, then I'm so addicted to film music. Okay, best thing is, don't get to the FM, don't get to the tape recorder, don't get to the car and then immediately switch on. So then your idea is restrict completely music. Therefore, it will be out. In here, the example quoted is like, if you are want to control your tongue, then don't eat, right? Because they think God is actually an impersonal feature. And how can the God eat, right? There's no mouth, there's no hand, there's nothing. So they don't, and therefore they think, therefore I also, even though I have a body, I'm spirit, I have no form, and therefore how can I eat? I should restrict from eating. This logic is what these people follow. But as devotees, we know the Lord is a perfect, beautiful form, and He's got His own likes, dislikes, whatever. So many varieties of emotions He has, and He exchanges it all the time with His devotees. So as His followers, we also understand that it's not that we cannot engage with the objects, but just that, we do not take it from a personal perspective. That means as a gratification of our senses, you take that as a gratification of the Lord's senses. Just to please the Lord, I do this. So, for example, we cook. It's not, we don't say, no, don't eat. No, we offer it to the Lord. And the Lord enjoys it because He's the ultimate enjoyer. We know that. He's the Adi Purusha, He's the enjoyer. And once He enjoys, it becomes transcendental or spiritualized. There is no more material in that object. And then when you consume it, you are actually in a state of spirit. You are situated in the self, not in the body platform. And therefore, there is no restriction. You can actually engage the senses in the service of the Lord and spiritualize the whole thing. And that is the natural position, right? I have a body, I have to eat. And I eat for the pleasure of the Lord, or I eat the remnants of the Lord, which is called prasada. So this is very simple. And when you are acting in that platform, this attachment to the object does not come, and therefore bewilder of memory, anger, bewilderment of memory, delusion, bewilderment of memory, and fall down doesn't happen. Take the example of Hanumanji, right? If you all know, Hanuman went to Lanka for what purpose? Like, initially when he first was looking to find Sita, so he jumped over to Lanka, and then he sees Mother Sita is in captivity, and he then gets captured by Ravana and his team, and they actually torch his tail, right? So when your tail is torched, it is supposedly burning. Naturally, Hanuman got angry, right? Anger means you should go to delusion, and delusion should lead to bewilderment of memory, and then he should fall down, right? But what happened to Hanuman? He externally exhibited anger, and he went about torching the entire city. I mean, how much anger you should have to burn down an entire city? Today we are seeing a war is happening where one party is very much angry and he's destroying the whole city, right? So when you are in so much height of anger, you go about destructing. And exactly what Hanuman did. He was in the height of anger, and then he was destroying the entire city. But then that destruction, that anger was not something which led to loss of memory, bewilderment, nothing. He was completely in control of himself. He wanted to show them a lesson, and he wanted to show a small little power of Lord Rama, that if this one small monkey can come and create so much havoc for all of your this one, for the wrongdoings that you're doing, just imagine when the Lord himself comes. Better surrender now. He wanted to show them that lesson. Therefore he went around burning, but then externally it looked like angry. So anger, or for that matter anything uh, connected with the senses, if we are able to relate it in relation, or dovetail it in the service of the Lord, then that becomes spiritualized. And that is the way devotees try to handle things. Not that we therefore act completely in bodily platform and put everything as I did this for Krishna. No, that is there. We can see ourselves, and others can also see. But the idea is, how do we act but not get attached to that act, or rather relate it to the gratification of the senses. That action is not to satisfy the senses, but to satisfy the senses of the Supreme Lord. So this should be the way we manage this, and at the same time live, be situated in ourselves. So that means a devotee can act at any point in time, and he can withdraw also at any point in time, because he's like, if I am accustomed to doing something in a manner through the normal practice of senses, then it will uh, trigger automatically, and if I don't do it, it creates a lot of pain. But when you are engaging, not relating it to the senses, you can do it when you want to do it, you can not do it when you don't want to do it, because it is not driven by the senses, it is driven by the intelligence, and that intelligence is very clearly fixed in the source of all the existence, which is the Supreme Personality of God. And therefore, if the Lord wants, I will do anything. But if the Lord says, I don't want, I will not do it. You will see the simple example when, I may like so many specific foodstuffs. Initially, I will never be able to resist it. I will go so many times. You see advertisement where night people go and steal from the fridge, right? Because that resistance is not there, because you are so much addicted to certain things. But if you are supposing something like that is given to you, you will always have it, because that's natural that you have it. But once you are in a devotee mode, you are actually doing this over a period of time. For example, on Ekadasi day, we all fast, right? We don't take anything. At that time, the most thing that you like, if that is even offered or put in front of you, you will never, okay, it's fine, I'm not keen. Hey, yesterday you were making such a big this one about taking this food stuff, but today you are completely like renounced. Yes, because that does not tempt me at all, because I can act for Krishna at any point in time. So that is very important. And when we practicalize this in our life on a day-to-day basis, we can actually withdraw from this action from platform, and act in the spirit platform. Hare Krishna. I think it is 8 o'clock, so 7 o'clock, so we will stop here. If there are any questions, maybe in a minute or two we can take, if that is allowed. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanvat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji,
Krishna
Dandavad
Prabhuji,
Pranam.
Danvat Pranam.
Prabhuji, just a small doubt, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna,
Yes,
Dhanavad.
Prabhu.
Prabhu, can you please give some examples and your experience how to act in a soul platform, Prabhu?
Okay, so the examples I mentioned about Hanuman, how he acted. In our day-to-day life, I also talked about how we honor only prasadam, right? It's
Yes,
not whatever you want to have. Like, so many times we are addicted to so many things before our devotee life. Eating
yes,
whatever nonsense we want to eat
yes,
outside, right? We want to go out and eat whenever. You see these days everybody is having these small restaurants outside, and they give
yes,
you
sir.
very tasty items, right? Earlier we all used to have, like, when I was maybe 15 years back, 20 years back, we used to have whenever we go out, or we create an occasion to just to go to that shop and have a nice this one and all that.
Yes,
So this was acting on a bodily platform. But then later, when we come to understand all of these things, then we said, no, this is not how it is. Whatever is then you want to eat, it is not that you just immediately like an animal go and eat whatever you want, but you should actually only honor Krishna Prasadam. So therefore, then whatever, if at all we are tempted to have anything, we used to make at home. Even now, my children also, they were like born devotees. I, I don't know if they have even visited a hotel. you know I mean,
yes.
on the
Thank you.
prime teenage, they immediately get attracted. But my children, I used to tell them also, like, if you are interested, you can have, so that experience, it's not like, you are forced like that to be grown up. So you should develop it on your own. It's not like my parents forced me. So I just once in a while used to, if you want, you can order something and eat. They will say, no pa, I'm not very keen. And then my wife will make something, even pizza or whatever we make at home, and they have, and they are very happy. They never feel tempted to do something outside, because the knowledge is coming right from. So it's all about how we control ourselves. Similarly, movies, right? At some point in time, I used to like music, right? We used to um, mm,
Yes,
uh,
Prabhuji.
film
Thank you,
songs,
Prabhuji. Yes,
but in course of time, once you replace that with kirtan, then that taste has gone. Like, no more. Even if you hear music, film music, you don't feel like, shut it off. You don't feel like listening to that music. But it's all the time replaced with the Hare Krishna wonderful kirtans out there. Like this, there are many examples, practical examples in our own life also. Hare Krishna.
yes,
So how to inbuild this quality, Prabhuji, in kids? Maybe I'm talking on myself also, but we're not getting tempted and all. We always get tempted.
Yes. So
Yeah,
that's called the power of association. See, whenever we do something, when you have someone who's more inspiring, when we associate with them, these things become easy, right? Now we would have seen, like, children, what do they say? If you would have told your son or daughter, the exam time, you say, who are your friends? You will say, like, no, that guy is a good sportsman, but your idea is not that your son is going to be a sportsman. So you'll say, no, you better, who gets first rank or second rank in your class? You ask that, right? And then you say, why don't you go and sit with him or her and study?
right.
So it's
Yes,
simple. That same logic, if you apply, if you want to acquire certain qualities, you move with people who have that quality.
Yes.
Then by their inspiration, it becomes very easy. Like that we can do. But on our own, it's a big struggle. So this is a simple technique. You go and attach with someone who's got that power of that quality. The more we interact with them, when we see, we feel, oh, how is it so simple, and we are inspired to do it that way. So that helps actually. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, one thing. Right now, my father-in-law is in ICU from last 7-8 days. Yeah, you are right that when parents, or association, and when I'm asking my kids to also chant for him, they are doing it.
Hmm.
But how to focus from my side that like from last 7-8 days, he is 8 days in ICU. Right, his condition is improving, but I
Hmm.
have to take it as a positive or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know. I don't want to give philosophy at this point in time. Parents are parents, and we all love our parents. But we can also do at the same time. We cannot keep getting. How can this happen? How can this happen? We should try to do what is best at this given point in time. You have tried to do it from a material perspective. What is to be done? You put him in hospital. Giving the best of treatments. So that is, you should feel happy that you have been given the power to be able to do something. I know there are so many people who can't afford to do anything. They simply see their parents die. If I mean, I hope you understand what it is.
Yes. I'm very thankful now. Doctor also I got it. Right intervention, the right doctors, His
Yes.
condition really went bad on Sunday. He was a ventilator, then he needs to be. Yeah, I am very grateful for those things, Annie.
Yes, so you should really feel happy you are doing your best to your father from a material perspective. That means because I have a body, I need to be taken care in that way. No, I can't be. That is one side of it. The other side of it is all of us. Today I am speaking, tomorrow you don't know whether I am there or not. See, this is because I am a spirit. I am very free. I can actually move around. I am actually put inside this body and held like a prisoner. So sometimes this body becomes useless. What is the point of being inside this body when it is useless? Then I shift it. That's nothing. It's very natural. Just like your children have grown, right? The child was 1 year old. Does that child has the same body then now? But you didn't know that child body died, and now my son is in teenage. Do we cry for that? We don't, right? So that means that body, that soul has transmigrated from the child body to another fitter body, younger body, and we are happy about it. That way, when we pass out of this body, also, that is an evolution for the person, and he or she is empowered with a better body to function from there. So we should pray for that soul to actually progress, whether they are in ICU or even you and me today. You are like that. I always pray for you, like whomever my team members, I pray. Whomever who are connecting with me spiritually, I pray for their spiritual well-being. Like that, we can pray for our parents, and more particularly when they are in difficulties, physical difficulties. We pray for them, and that is going to help them big time. Like you can read 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, for example.
I
You
have
should make children read them. So this will give immense benefit to the soul. Like he may be discharged soon also. But even if the eventuality is different, it doesn't matter. We are doing our best.
yeah. I have one question, Prabhuji. From long time I did not ask on this one only. I'm very beginner to Krishna consciousness. Maybe past 1.5 hour I'm just associated. So I have one question that once our goal is to go to Krishna, and whenever we feel like we need to enjoy, then we come back here, right? So what is the point of going there is fine, but again we can be lured by this material things and we can come it. So why not to merge within Krishna himself?
So that is committing suicide, right? See, we have
No,
some
no,
problem.
not committing suicide means after going to Krishna,
No,
there should be
I'm
something like I should not come back.
I understand. I understand. So it's like, I'm equating it to suicide. For example, I am caught up in some trouble here, right? Let's say I have taken some loans and all, and now everybody is after me like anything, and I don't know where to go. What is the best thing to do? I should give back the loan, but I have no means.
Yeah,
There is no way. Then you see many people. If you see the newspaper, you will see so many people committing suicide. That means what? Escaping from the problem,
escaping from this one. Yeah,
right? It's escaping
yeah,
from the problem, but you are not solving the root cause,
right.
right?
Yeah,
But then you understand the fellow who committed suicide will still have to suffer the actions. If I have
right.
cheated
Same.
you and not given you the money, then I will have to come back and suffer over here.
Yes, yes.
That is the
More
logic.
than that.
The same thing applies that, if we think, why I will again develop a tendency to enjoy, therefore I will fall down. So better not do that anything. I will give up my existence. That means the self I talked about, right? And then I
Right.
will merge into something. That is like committing spiritual suicide.
Okay.
So, but
Okay.
we want to reform from the root cause rather than escaping from the situation. So
Mm-hmm.
that's many people do this. They want to merge into the body. So you go and sit inside the body of the Lord, but then when the next creation happens, you will come down. You have no
Okay.
choice there.
Okay.
You are pushed into your body at a later point in time. So there's no question of merging. But actually, you can be having a nice relationship. Krishna says, don't worry about that. That's too far for us. But Krishna says, those who come to me does not return back to this material world. See, you make mistake once. You don't make mistake many times. Because after you go back, you realize you can see all the different lives that you have spent in, and like I, for example, I can see I was a dog, I was a camel, I was a thing. So I see down, oh my God, what nonsense I have been doing there. I can see all of that. After that, will I commit that mistake? Like you touch fire once. Second
Yeah,
time,
you
even a child, without first time, he doesn't even know he touches the fire. But the same child, even 1 year old, next time he put his hand inside that fire, he will not, right? The same thing happens to us also. If you go back to the spiritual world, you don't come back.
Okay, Prabhu.
Yadgatva
Thank you for
nanavartanti taddama paramam mama. He says, once who gets there, he does not come back. Yadgatva, one who has gone there, nanivartanti, does not come back. What is that place? Taddama paramam mama. That place is mine. Spiritual world, he's saying. My spiritual world.
Okay.
So we don't have to worry about that. We want to be in relationship with Krishna, not to lose our identity.
Okay, Prabhuji. Nice perspective. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Hare
Hare Krishna.